All right, welcome to Talk Tickers. We're breaking down Trip.com's Q3 2025 earnings today. And listen, this one's a head scratcher. They posted this huge earnings beat, but the stock, it kind of just shrugged. So what's going on here? Why the disconnect? That's what we're going to dig into. Okay, let's just kick things off with the number that blew everyone away this quarter. A plus 236% surprise on non-GAAP earnings per share. I mean, wow. A number like that grabs all the headlines, for sure. But it also makes you ask the big questions, right? What in the world is really driving this? And maybe even more important, can they keep it up? That's exactly what we're here to figure out. So here's how we're going to tackle this. First, we'll hit that big headline beat. Then we're diving inside the numbers to see what's really going on. After that, we'll check out management's big bet on AI, try to solve the mystery of the market's reaction, and then wrap it all up with our final rating and our call for what's next. All right, let's jump right in. Section 1, the headline beat. This is the stuff that first caught everyone's eye when the numbers dropped. And right here, this slide tells the whole story. Just look at that non-GAAP EPS. They delivered $3.87. The consensus? $1.15. I mean, they didn't just beat it, they absolutely demolished it. But then you glance up at the revenue line, a much quieter 1.4% beat. So you see that huge gap, right? That's the mystery we have to solve this quarter. Where did all that extra profit suddenly come from? Which leads us perfectly into Section 2, inside the numbers. Time to peel back the onion a bit and see what's actually powering the business day to day. And when you dig in, you see some really impressive stuff. This isn't just one part of the company doing all the heavy lifting. Nope. We're talking solid double-digit growth pretty much everywhere you look. Accommodations up 18%. Transportation up 12%. Corporate travel up 15%. That is a sign of really healthy, widespread demand. It's exactly the kind of thing an investor wants to see. But here's the real story, the engine that's truly driving their profit. It's all about high-value cross-border travel. Check this out. International bookings shot up 60% year over year. People traveling into China, that more than doubled. And travel out of China is now at a staggering 140% of what it was back in 2019. Think about that. And these international trips, they're way more profitable. So for every dollar they make, more of it turns into actual profit. That's that powerful operating leverage really kicking into gear. And here's the catch, the answer to our little mystery. While the core business was definitely strong, that insane 236% EPS beat got a massive boost from a one-time gain. Basically, they sold off part of an investment. So that explains it. That's the bridge between the small revenue beat and the giant earnings beat. It's a super important detail to understand what really happened this quarter. Okay, so let's shift gears a little bit. We've talked about the past quarter. Now let's look at the future. Section 3 is all about management's AI playbook. And believe me, this was a huge topic of conversation on their earnings call. Yeah, management couldn't have been clearer about this. AI is not some side hustle for them. It is absolutely central to their entire strategy. They really see themselves as leading the charge, using this tech to completely change the travel industry. Moving away from just a simple search bar to something that's way more personal and intuitive. And look, this isn't just talk. They brought the receipts. Their AI tool, TripGenie, has seen user growth explode by about 200%. So what does that do? Well, for one, it gives you, the user, a much better experience with personalized recommendations. But it also helps them on the back end, making their own operations run smoother by dealing with customer service stuff. It's a win-win, really, driving both growth and profits. So that brings us back to the big puzzle, doesn't it? Section 4, the market's verdict. You've got a strong core business. You've got this exciting AI story. So why did investors basically just yawn? Well, it turns out the reaction was kind of split. Here in the US, the stock barely moved, up just over 2%. But over in Hong Kong, a much healthier gain of almost 4%. Now, that difference is really telling. It kind of suggests that the investors who are physically closer to the action, the ones seeing that travel recovery firsthand, they were a lot more impressed than investors here in the States. And if you think about it, that US reaction looks even weaker when you factor in what people were expecting. The options market was betting on a move of more than 6%. The fact that the stock delivered less than half of that, well, it's a pretty clear signal. It tells us that US investors probably saw that big one-time gain and just weren't buying into the hype. They were skeptical. Okay, so let's put all the pieces together and make a call. This is Section 5, our rating for Q4 and what we see coming down the pike.
So this is really the big question for anyone looking at the stock right now, isn't it? Do you side with the cautious US market, or do you put your money on that powerful growth story that clearly has investors in Asia excited?
So let's lay out both sides of the argument. The bull case is pretty straightforward, right? You've got that explosive growth in profitable international travel, you've got real, tangible results from their AI strategy, plus a rock-solid balance sheet with over $15 billion in cash. I mean, that's a fortress. The bear case, on the other hand, is all about that one-time gain making the numbers look better than they are, a little bit of pricing pressure back home in China, and of course, those ever-present geopolitical risks. All right, so when we weigh everything we've just talked about, our call here at Talk Tickers is an outperform rating. And here's our thinking on that. We think the market is getting a little too hung up on that one-time gain that made this quarter's numbers look so wild. We believe that as we get into the next quarter and look ahead to 2026, the story is going to shift. People are going to start focusing again on the real underlying momentum in international travel and the fact that their AI plan is actually working. Frankly, we think the market's caution right now could actually be a buying opportunity. And just as always, a quick reminder, this is not financial advice. Thanks for tuning in to Talk Tickers.